Okay, good day, and this is Shmuley Zand here from the law offices of Samuel T. Zand, PC, and I just wanted to discuss a little bit of the real estate transaction process in terms of the purchase of a home. You may have just called me, or you may be considering, or you have put in an offer on a home, and so I wanted to take you through a little bit of what's going to happen over the course of the next few weeks, few months, from inception of this deal to hopefully closing. At the outset, in New York, it's important to know that even though you're at the point where you are going to make an offer, or you may have already made an offer, the inspection of the property comes before the contract signing. So step number one, once you're ready once you've agreed on the terms in terms of the price, go ahead, schedule through the broker, with the help of the broker, schedule an engineer to come down, or a property inspector, similar people but not exactly the same, and see how that goes. Now, the goal of the inspector and the report is not to find faults in the property, because I can tell you right now that the very nature of these homes, primarily in Brooklyn, but also in the 5 boroughs and in Nassau County, they've been built in 1915, 1925, the early 1900s, by and large, and you're going to find a lot of little things. So the goal is to mainly look out for big ticket items. The roof, electricity, plumbing systems, and then once you see what the problems are, then you want to think about whether it's worth your energy and your time to negotiate a better price. And of course, first step is know your cost and know the risk involved in whatever it is that came back from the inspection. So for example, if your inspector said that the roof looks like it's near the end of its life, so you may want to reach out to a roofer and get an estimate and get his opinion as to how long it could last, and then understand that if it lasts another year and you're going to need to replace it, what goes into replacing it. Is it just replacing shingles? Is it ripping out the whole roof? Is it a matter of $1,000 or $10,000 or whatnot? And then you put together how much it could cost you, what the risk factor is, and then you talk to the broker and you say, listen, there's a few of these big ticket items, and then in addition there's all these small items, and therefore I want a reduction in the purchase price, let's say, of $10,000, or or any amount. But if there's no big ticket items and a bunch of small little items, then you're better off moving forward with the deal as is. And then of course it depends, if you feel like you're getting a great deal, or you feel like you're getting a marginal deal. That all depends, and you have to take all these things into account. Then, assuming you're past that, then we talk, and you'll tell me where you are with the mortgage stage, and usually you'll have 45 days in a typical contract to get your mortgage, and then if you can't get a mortgage during that period, then you can back out of the contract. That's called a mortgage contingency, and then you'll have approximately 60 days, not another 60 days, but another 15 days by which to close the transaction. And the fact that you have another 15 days really gives you another 30 to 45 days, because it's not a hard and fast closing date. Once we sign contract, we'll go back and forth, a little negotiations of the contract, nothing major, hopefully. And then once we sign contract, you will then proceed to your mortgage broker, and you'll have to dot all your I's, cross all your T's, do whatever it is that you need to in order to get your mortgage approved. And you'll keep me posted, and at the same time I'll order a title report, and we'll make sure that there's no title issues. If there are any, we'll send it over to the Sellers Council, and then we'll get to closing. Once you get a mortgage approval, it's not that long, it's a few days to a few weeks till we actually close. In the interim, one other thing is a survey, and the survey is usually not a requirement of most mortgage lenders, residential. However, it depending on where you're located, it's recommended. The survey is what maps out the parameters of your property and gives you details as to whether there's any encroachments, and maybe the neighbor has a fence that's on your property or you have a fence that's on the neighbor's property. Less critical in, let's say in Brooklyn, where you have a row of houses that are cookie cutter houses one after the other. Much more important in Muncie area, and then Nassau County falls in between, depending on the nature of your house and your property, and if it's like diagonal and there's large yards. Of course, we don't know much about large yards here in Brooklyn, but the point is that we'll talk about the survey, and it's anywhere, it costs from $600 to $1,500 to $2,000 depending, and you'll make the decision whether you want it or not. Sometimes we can get a hold of a survey from the prior owner and it'll bring down the costs involved, and then we'll get to the closing table, and we'll talk about the closing in an upcoming video. And feel free to email any questions to me at samuel@zandlawoffices.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day.